Gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome you on the first press conference of the newly elected executive board of the ECR party. I present to you the new president, Mr. Mateusz Morawiecki, former Prime Minister of Poland.
Well, thank you very much to all who were involved in the development of the ECR party so far, because it has a very strong foundation, and a special thank to Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni for her leadership and how she inspired all of the group, ECR group and ECR party, to be very active and fighting for conservative values. I would like to continue and develop our presence all over Europe, all over the globe. We have already accepted new parties and new members, so the ECR party is going to be stronger and stronger. I'm also delighted to work together with such a great team as Marion Marchal from France, Carlo Fidanza, our Italian friend, and Georges Simon with a strong Romanian representation. We will very strongly focus on being the firewall against all the obstacles to freedom of speech, which are quite recently so much vocal all around Europe, and we will oppose them very, very fiercely. We believe as conservatives that the freedom of speech is the foundation of our philosophy and approach to the public life. Second, we are going to be an oasis of common sense conservatism, and we will be working with everybody who is going to support the idea of subsidiarity, the idea of bringing back more power to the sovereign nations, away from centralization of power to the European Commission. This is wrong. This is a way to nowhere. We warn the European Commission, and we will be doing all possible to revert back from this wrong track which the European Commission is now on. The third item is nurturing, supporting, fostering the transatlantic relationship. The European Union, the European community was stronger together with the United States, in the cooperation with the United States. We are different. We have our own interests. We will be defending our own European interests, but this will have to happen in the context of the new global geostrategical situation, geopolitical situation, and this is quite different than this one from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, as everybody knows. So we have to strengthen the transatlantic ties, and the ECR party, with Giorgia Meloni, with myself, with other people, we can be the glue, we can be the keystone of transatlantic community altogether. So once more, thank you very much to all who trusted this great honor in my hands, and I will do utmost. I will do all possible for the ECR party to be as strong, as active as possible, and let's stay together. Let's make the conservatism, but also reformist movement, ECR, European conservatists and reformists. And both components are so important. The European Union needs reforms, revamped back to common sense approach, away from all the different ideological madness. And let me now say a few words in Polish for the Polish press, very briefly. Dziękuję bardzo za to zaufanie, za jednomyślny wybór na szefa partii EKR, Europejskich Konserwatystów i Reformatorów. Właśnie te dwa człony, europejscy konserwatyści, ci, którzy wierzą w wartość tradycji, wiary chrześcijańskiej, kultury europejskiej, ale także reformatorzy. To jesteśmy my, ci, którzy chcą zreformować Unię Europejską, ale nie scentralizować, tylko przywrócić władzę państwom narodowym. To będzie na pewno bardzo ważny element działań partii EKR pod moim przewodnictwem. Punkt drugi to podejście zdroworozsądkowe. Mnóstwo biurokracji, mnóstwo niepotrzebnych dyrektyw ze strony Unii Europejskiej, które pętają przedsiębiorczość w Europie, które niszczą konkurencyjność. Wraz z inauguracją Donalda Trumpa na prezydenta będzie to potężne wyzwanie, gdzie my, partia EKR, której częścią w sensie globalnym są właśnie również amerykańscy republikanie. Mamy najbliższy kontakt z amerykańskimi republikanami. Będziemy walczyć ręka w rękę o to, żeby to podejście zdroworozsądkowe do gospodarki europejskiej dominowało. I będziemy także walczyć o wolność słowa. Będziemy walczyć przeciw cenzurze, przeciw wypowiedziom takim jak ta kilka dni temu o wyborach w Niemczech, przeciw wypowiedziom takim jak ta, które dotyczyły wyborów w Rumunii ponad miesiąc temu. To wola ludu, wola narodów europejskich musi decydować o tym, kto wygrywa w demokracji, a nie europejscy biurokraci. Raz jeszcze bardzo dziękuję za to zaufanie związane z wyborem mnie na przewodniczącego partii EKR. Będę robił wszystko, żeby partia była coraz silniejsza w Europie, coraz silniejsza na świecie. Wierzę, że jesteśmy w stanie zmienić naszą rzeczywistość wspólnie na lepsze. Dziękuję bardzo.
Madame President.
Ladies first.
Merci beaucoup. Quelques mots pour dire toute la gratitude qui est la nôtre à l'égard du formidable travail réalisé par Giorgia Meloni alors qu'elle était à la tête de ce parti ECR, permettant ainsi de faire de ce parti l'une des grandes forces politiques de droite conservatrice incontournables en Europe. Nous sommes extrêmement fiers aujourd'hui, avec notre nouveau président et nos deux vice-présidents, de continuer ce travail amorcé par Giorgia Meloni pour la défense, en effet, des combats qui nous sont chers et qui sont partagés par nos différents pays. Ça a été dit, la défense de notre identité de nation, mais aussi de civilisation, le combat pour la démographie européenne, le combat pour la souveraineté, en particulier la souveraineté économique et énergétique, mais aussi la défense des valeurs conservatrices, la défense de la liberté d'expression et cette volonté partagée de défendre une influence en Europe, mais aussi à l'extérieur de l'Europe, de ces valeurs conservatrices et de pouvoir ainsi nous donner aussi les armes de remporter toutes les victoires électorales nécessaires qui nous permettront demain de continuer d'être une force de droite incontournable et influente au sein des institutions européennes afin d'orienter cette Union européenne au service des intérêts des Européens pour notre souveraineté, pour notre identité et notre prospérité. Je crois que c'est notre mission commune et je suis particulièrement honorée aujourd'hui de faire partie de ce nouveau bureau de CR.
Thank you, Marion. Good morning, everybody. And I don't want to add too many words more to what has been said very rightly by the new president, by Marion. I just want to add our warmest thanks to Giorgia Meloni for the very, very hard work that he made in these 4 years of presidency. 4 years crossed everything, pandemic, wars, and so on. So it was not a good, an easy time to make politics for every one of us, and particularly for those who have responsibilities, so huge responsibilities. So this is something that I want to share with you. I want also to share that we also elected right now our new president of the New Direction Foundation, that is the foundation, the cultural foundation linked to the ECR party, Mr. Nicola Procaccini, our co-chair of the ECR group. And I want just to give you another brief information, if I may, President, an anticipation, because you perfectly spoke about transatlantic relationship, and what is so important for us is something that is at the basis, at the roots of our political commitment as ECR party, and we are, for this reason, also arranging a delegation of our presidency to the inauguration of Trump presidency in Washington, D.C. next week. So we will be there to represent our political family in a very historical moment, and also to reiterate this effort for building a stronger transatlantic relationship. Thank you all.
My name is George Simeon. I'm the new vice president of ECR party and the president of the Alliance of the Union of Romanians. It is a great pride for me and for our party to have this title and to work together with President Morawiecki, with Vice President Fidanța and Vice President Marion Mareșal, to continue the legacy of Giorgia Meloni. We are especially delighted that we continue our collaboration, and at our Congress there was the presence of the British Conservatives. As you well know, in Romania we are passing a constitutional crisis. The presidential elections were unjustly annulled, so we will continue our efforts to fight for real democracy in Europe and for freedom, as President Morawiecki said. It's important to have free elections and to have both in Europe and in America a free world. So we look towards Washington with hope, and our delegation that will be present in Washington at the inauguration of President Trump will emphasize the need of collaboration between united European Union formed of sovereign nations, and the United States. Thank you for this honor.
Thank you. Now we have time for questions. As I can assume, there will be also questions in Polish, maybe in other national language. Let's start with the English ones and then move to national languages.
Mr. Morawiecki, Angela Bauer, posted there is a lot of talk around Europe about remigration, I don't know the exact pronunciation, in Germany and Austria. What's your thought on this?
You mean the discussion around moving people back to the countries from which they came to Europe?
Yeah.
Well, I was always in favor of defending Europe and having tight European borders. Any definition of a sovereign state is that this state has to be able to defend its own borders. So it's very good that quite recently, as I spoke to Georgia, there are less and less of the illegal migration to Italy and to other countries. So this was also the decision of my government to build a physical barrier with Belarus, because the Lukashenko and Putin instrumentalized illegal migration, and they were trying to push tens of thousands of illegal migrants through Polish-Belarusian border. So I'm very tough on all those aspects of the migration policy, as you know, and I will be trying to find a common denominator between all of us within the ECR party. But I'm sure that we know that if we want to defend Europe, we have to be able to defend our external borders.
Yeah, but the remigration, it adapts also to the people who have European passports and who have foreign origins, according to those who promote it.
Well, this is the prerogative of each member state, each nation, to decide who is going to get its passport, its appropriate documents. So it's not for me to decide what is Italy going to do, Spain or other countries. I can only tell you that while I was prime minister, my position was very tough on all this, and we were not allowing for illegal migration, basically. And I was able to introduce to the conclusion of the European Council the decision on unanimous voting vis-à-vis any changes to the Asylum Pact or Migration Pact. Right now, it looks differently, and it is of concern to me. That's all I can say about this.
Consoli, Asca News Italy. I would like to ask you about economic and geopolitical sovereignty of Europe, because that's something that also Madame Maréchal mentioned. Do you agree with the concept of European geopolitical sovereignty? And then, do you agree with the fact that until we have the veto right in the foreign policy, we will not have geopolitical sovereignty, because there will be always somebody that will stop Europe to have this geopolitical sovereignty? What is the position, because there are different positions inside your group, I think, about geopolitical sovereignty, the right of veto in foreign policy, and in general, the possibility for Europe to be big at the world level, even if you want to bring back some powers inside Europe to the member states.
Absolutely. I want to bring back lots of competencies which were usurped by the European Commission, and I do believe that it's up to the nation states to decide about their foreign policy. I'm absolutely against eliminating the sovereignty of states and transferring the foreign policy to Brussels, because it means for me that it will be decided basically from Berlin. That's item number 2. But let me say also that I'm a strong believer in revitalized Europe. And all those who say that we should be we should have sovereign autonomy, we should have strategic autonomy, and who mean by this that we should be disconnected from the United States and connected to China, I disagree with that. I just believe that we should be cooperating with China as much as we can, but it's the free world and transatlantic community, in particular democracies, which can and should work together in a peaceful way with all who want to collaborate with us peacefully. But that's the prerequisite for a peaceful collaboration. And we won't be meaningful. We will turn into insignificance if we do not eliminate red tape and the centralization of power in Brussels and by the European Commission. That's the major obstacle for Europe to be great again. That's my philosophy in a nutshell. Your question, sir, was a very broad one.
Veto in foreign policy.
Sorry?
The right of veto in foreign
Well,
policy.
absolutely. As I said, I don't believe that the foreign policy should be unionized right now, because it means that we will have a Middle European, or Middle European, Central European policy out of Berlin, and we should not have it like this.
Just to add few words, there's no difference between us in terms of veto right for foreign policy. So if you assume this, there's no difference. We fully agree on this.
Yes.
Yep.
How do you see the cooperation with EPP in the European Parliament? Is it be your partner?
We are very pragmatic. We know there are different forces in the European Parliament. We might disagree with EPP on many issues, but if there is an option to find to build a coalition with EPP and with the Patriots of Europe on some important things for us, we can do so. And as you can realize, the ECR is in the middle, is in the center. On our right is Patriots and some other people. On our left is EPP. EPP is now left off center. That's the fact. But we can cooperate with all of those for the good of Europe and for the good of the nation states, member states of Europe.
For Spanish press, from Argentina, has South asked to join the party, or do we have any news regarding this?
If I can answer. Yes, you are talking about Se Acabó la Fiesta.
Exactly.
They have members of the European Parliament that are members in ECR group. After the process is finished, then they intend to have a request to enter the ECR party. It's the normal steps that also we, from the Alliance of the Union of Romanians, took.
Okay, but there are not any news or...
No news for the moment. No news for
the moment. We had, as you know, very good Spanish friends, party Vox, but they decided to go to the Patriots of Europe, so they were our brothers, they are our cousins right now.
Gabriele Rosano, the Italian newspaper Il Messaggero. Your predecessor, being a sitting prime minister, had a constructive, some would say also fruitful, relation with the chief of the European Commission, with Ursula von der Leyen. What will be your stance now, since we know also that the relations were not always that?
I'm sure Georgia will use it for the good of ECR party
as
and.
president of the ECR.
Well, as I said, Georgia as acting prime minister is very active all over the place, and she has also a good relationship. She knows that we have to cooperate with those who will help us to realize our goals, our program, our agenda. And Georgia knows what she's doing, and that's the right thing.
Jan Disseldorf from Süddeutsche Zeitung from Germany. You have talked extensively about the transatlantic relationships, but you have not once mentioned Russia. Is the ECR, or will the ECR party, under your leadership, be united in confronting Russia's imperialism and in supporting Ukraine?
Yes.
Thank you.
You mentioned migration. What other Poland-centric policies do you want to pursue as part of this mandate, and do you expect to bristle with Brussels on any of them? And a second question, the Justice Commissioner released a report today. What do you think of that report, and could it influence the Polish Election Committee's decision to give funding to peace? Thank you.
Well, to your first question, we are going to focus on red tape and all the bureaucracy which is hampering the development of the economic development all over Europe. And could you imagine what is going to happen when the red tape elimination will really be brought about by the guys in the United States, Vivek Ramaswamy, Elon Musk, the Doge, and so on? We will be even farther out to our American competitors. So we have to really take bull by the horns, and we have to be very serious about this. Thinking about the commissioners responsible for justice, I have in mind Didier Reynders, who was the commissioner who was patronizing Poland and saying a lot about corruption. And at the end of the day, he is now accused of being corrupt himself by some press. And that's a shame on the European Commission. And many people should think about this really twice when commissioners like him, he was, attack democratically elected governments. So all in all, you also asked about this question, our internal Polish political situation. I can only say that there is a real attack on democracy in Poland, as it is in Romania, as it is in some other countries, but in Poland it's really nasty. The Polish constitution is no longer valid, Polish laws are no longer valid, and now I'm not joking. The post on Platform X by my successor, by the current Prime Minister, Donald Tusk, is creating law in my country. If you want democracy to look like that, then look into Poland. That's the situation in Poland.
If I may, on the subject, it's shameful what's happening in Poland with ACTA and with Donald Tusk imposing censorship without existing any law or any prosecutor in the back, and the stoppage of funding, of public funding for law and justice is critical towards imposing dictatorship in Poland.
May I again?
Are there any other? Or yes, please.
It's about Elon Musk, and he's supporting openly the AfD in Germany for ahead of the federal elections. What's your thought about this? Is he interfering with the German politics or no?
I'm quite ambivalent on this because we are not supporting AfD as such. They are not our friends, they are not our partners, not at all. That's first part of my reply. But there is also second part of my reply. We need freedom of speech and freedom of expression, political expression, and we need it to be real. And with all the mainstream, like 90% of the media in Poland right now is in favor of the current leftist liberal government. That's also a complete attack. It's an actual attack on democracy, because there is no democracy without freedom of speech. There is no democracy without pluralistic media. So the platform X and Facebook, with the recent statement made by Mark Zuckerberg, now give us some floor, some base to express our opinions. So from that point of view, I'm very happy that at least there are such media who are really not limiting access for politicians to make statements on their policies. So that's my view on Elon Musk, on platform X, and the other aspect of his activities, of course, attack on bureaucracy, and here I agree with him completely.
Panie premierze, jeśli mogę zapytać.
Yeah, let's switch to national tongues if the English is
W tym momencie
depleted.
prokuratura generalna prezentuje pierwszą część raportu, w którym przedstawia śledztwa, które miały być politycznie manipulowane. Jak się pan odniesie do stawianych przez Adama Bodnara i jego zastępców zarzutów? Spodziewa się pan kolejnych oskarżeń, czy nie obawia się pan odpowiedzialności karnej? W końcu to pan nadzorował również Zbigniewa Ziobrę.
Nie obawiam się niczego, a co do kolejnych różnych postępowań, mam takie zdanie, że ta prokuratura jest nielegalna.
Chciałbym się zapytać o sondaże. W ostatnich dwóch sondażach widać wyraźnie, że Karol Nawrocki skraca dystans do Rafała Trzaskowskiego. Tutaj też się pojawiają takie komentarze, że pana wybór na przewodniczącego EKR-u miał wzmocnić właśnie pozycję kandydata, czy wspieranego przez Prawo i Sprawiedliwość kandydata w tych wyborach. Tak pan to odczytuje?
Widzę, że Rafał Trzaskowski gubi się rzeczywiście, plącze się, używa rosyjskiego gazu do autobusów w Warszawie. Musiał dać takie przyzwolenie, przynajmniej takie są przypuszczenia w mediach. Widać, że nie ma nic do zaoferowania. Widać, że jest z gruntu politycznym kandydatem, jest wiceprzewodniczącym Platformy Obywatelskiej. Dlatego rzeczywiście bardzo się cieszę z tego, że dystans między nim a obywatelskim kandydatem Karolem Nawrockim się skraca i wierzę, że to Karol Nawrocki przez Polaków będzie wybrany na prezydenta.
Are there any other questions?
When the polish is finished, and with declaration by
Thank you.
the new president.